Hey guys, welcome to the MC Anime Podcast. We cover anime, geek culture, Japanese aesthetics, and Asian studies. We are a multi-fandom podcast, and you can expect to hear topics in your favorite hobby or fandom activity potentially. You can find MC Anime on Google Podcasts, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. Also, please check out mcanimepodcast.com, our website. Furthermore, stay tuned in for another episode.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of MC Anime, and MC here, and we have another special guest with us today, Saber. How you doing today, Saber?
Tired.
Tired? Been one of those days?
No, I'm just always tired.
Oh, okay. So,
Nope.
Saber, tell them a little about yourself, what you are and what you do.
I'm Saber. I sleep, I eat, I do what normal humans do, but I also like to read this book series called Percy Jackson.
Oh, okay.
Very entertaining book series.
So that's a little bit about
There's 5
Saber.
books.
It's a little bit about Saber, and he alluded to what the topic is today. So what we're doing is a questionnaire about the Percy Jackson Olympians series. And as such, with the questionnaire, we're going to start asking questions about the Percy Jackson Olympians and how Saber likes the series and go from there.
Yep.
So for anyone that doesn't know what Percy Jackson Olympians is, please feel free to tell the audience.
Huh?
Feel free to tell the audience what Percy Jackson is and represents.
Okay, so Percy Jackson is a book series about this kid named Percy, and it's about Greek demigods fighting monsters and trying to stop a dude from conquering the world, pretty much.
Okay. So, the dude that's conquering the world, do you want to share who that is?
So it's actually two main people, Kronos and Luke Castellan, or however you pronounce his last name.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, well, Kronos is very synonymous with the Greek legend being the king of the Titans, and the father of Zeus, of Poseidon, and what's the person in the underworld? Hades. So,
Hades is the god of the underworld.
yes.
And then there's Tartarus, who is the little god dude of the deepest part of the underworld.
Mm-hmm.
That's where Kronos and all the Titans and giants live.
Yes.
And monsters.
And for anyone that doesn't know Greek mythology, the Titans were trapped with Kronos during the rise of the 3 Trinity gods of Poseidon, Zeus, and Hades. And during that time, they trapped them for the reign of the Titans was no more. So they're trapped in Tartarus, which is a living fire prison. So.
Well, not all the Titans are in Tartarus.
Yeah, not all of them are in there. Just the ones that actually cause havoc and actually will cause destruction to humanity.
There's Atlas, who's actually holding up the sky.
Yeah.
And he actually does a lot of trouble. He's one of the only people who can actually hold up the sky for practically ever.
Mm-hmm. And it's kind of interesting because Atlas, very strong feats of lifting up the world. Not much people compared to that, and that role is the synonymous with like holding up the heavens, literally being equivalent to maybe Hercules picking up the Atlas world as well in legend.
Yeah, Atlas is the strongest Titan. He's also known as the general in the book series because he's the general of Kronos' army.
Oh, okay. It's kind of interesting that, Atlas is like more peaceful, taking up the duty as the protector, holding up the sky and heavens.
But actually, he's forced to do it. In the book series, you see that only him, giants, and Cyclopses can be forced to hold up the sky. And so he's being forced to hold up the sky. And when they fight in the third book series, Artemis kicks him, or hits him, and he rolls, and Percy Jackson moves out from under the sky, and Alice has to hold up the sky.
Oh, okay. And what's the books in order in the series?
It goes The Lightning Thief, which is where we meet Percy Jackson.
Yep.
Then The Sea of Monsters, where they go out to the Bermuda Triangle.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's the one with Atlas. I forgot the name. I just don't remember the name.
Yeah.
It's where they go out and Annabeth gets kidnapped and they go out to fight Atlas and stuff.
Yeah.
And the fourth one is about the Labyrinth. It's this giant maze under all of Earth with the child of Athena and all that stuff. Fifth one, the Titan's Curse, where they fight a war, pretty much.
Okay. So,
Yeah.
I guess let's start with the Lightning Thief. Because that's usually how the Percy Jackson Olympian series is introduced. And brings great merit to the franchise and overall, mistaken for the Lightning Thief, which would be the lightning bolt of Zeus.
Yeah, the lightning bolt. The main thing about the book, the Lightning Thief, is about Luke, who we don't know actually steals it until near the end of the book, where he tries killing Percy. And Percy survives because of Tree Nymph and Sharon, their little centaur dude. And, well, that's at the end of the book. Yeah. In the beginning, we meet Percy Jackson with his teacher, who's in a wheelchair, who's also the centaur that protects Camp Half-Blood.
Yeah.
And then they fight a Fury. He goes to a beach with his mom. His mom dies. Then he goes to camp. Then he fights a bunch of people. Then he goes on a quest, fights and kills 3 more Furies.
Mm-hmm.
Then he travels on a train to St. Louis, which is near where I live, and then he basically tries to blow up the arch.
Yep.
Yeah, and then they go to California, more on the train and stuff in California, and then after all that, they go to the Lotus Hotel. After they're in a van with animals that they set free, they go to this hotel called the Lotus Hotel. Time does not flow there. It's a place out of time. So you can be in there for like an hour, you feel, and it could be like a few days.
Mm-hmm. They
somehow escape. Then they go to the underworld. Then they fight Hades after they almost fall into Tartarus. They go to Hades, confront him. He doesn't have the stuff. Percy Jackson actually does have the lightning bolt. Then he escapes with these 3 pearls that his dad gave him. And then he goes and fights Ares, who is his enemy for almost all of the book series, and the next one after that too.
Yeah.
He just doesn't like Ares, just does not like him. And then he beats Ares, who's a god.
Yeah.
Ares just hates him. Then he basically flies, all the way back to New York. He goes give the lightning bolts back. The helm is taken by a Fury back to Hades. And basically, he goes back to camp, lives out the rest of the summer, tries to be birded by Luke, who we found out is the main villain of this whole series, along with Cronus, who's manipulating him. And yeah, pretty much the whole book.
Well, true. And also, Lightning Thief is when we first see Percy being like coming up with his powers, learning about the heritage of the lineage factor with Poseidon being the demigod that he was.
I didn't even think I mentioned him being a child of Poseidon in that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And anyone that doesn't know what the demigods are, it's half human, half god. It's usually the gods having intercourse with humans, and as a result, the humans are born
As
with the half god part of them with the half human heritage. And
yes, there's half human, half god. I
And-
also didn't mention Percy Jackson's friends.
yeah, the Satyr.
He has 3 friends.
Mm-hmm.
A sitar, half human, half goat. Then there's a Annabeth, his future girlfriend, daughter of Athena. And then there's Luke, who was actually his friend originally. He's a child of Hermes, who also then tries to kill him.
Yeah. And
there's also his main enemy, also child of Ares, and who's also his main enemy. And, she also tries to kill him.
Yeah.
Twice.
Yep. And, with Rick Riordan doing this story, you also have to know, yes, it's based on the original Percy in Greek mythology, but it's a totally different story lineup with that story because it's its own original story based on historical mythology of Greek.
Yeah. Yeah, he also faces one of the main villains that Jason fought, the Snake Lady.
Yeah.
Forgot her name.
Mm-hmm.
She has a bunch of snakes and continue to stone. And if you cut off her head, then, a Pegasus and a child of Poseidon comes out. That's what happened in the original one. You actually see that child later on in the book series.
Yeah, and I think we see that in Sea of Monsters when you come to the rescue.
You don't see the child of Poseidon, Percy's brother, who came from the Snake Lady, until the next book series after that, after he tries killing them all.
Yeah. Also, another thing that's really establishing with the Lightning Thief is Ares being a quote-unquote antagonist for multiple books and being an ongoing...
antagonist?
Yeah, I know. Well, it is an antagonist. So, it's an ongoing antagonist that will come up again, and that usually reoccurring theme of a repeat villain actually plays a lot into a storyline, and Percy Jackson uses it really well to tell that story.
Yeah. There's a lot of stuff going on in that book. Yeah. There's him meeting his friends. We actually get to know more about him.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's a lot of interest. Annabeth, who comes in later on in the book series, and they start to date. And then there's Grover, who is his best friend, who actually went to school with him before he almost tried to get killed by Fury.
And Grover, I think, is also his guardian.
Grover was his guardian, the person who's supposed to help him get back to camp.
Yeah.
Oh, and what's it called? The Curse of the Big Three.
Yeah.
They made a vow that any demigod they had, the Big Three, Poseidon, Zeus, and Hades, any of them three, if they had a kid, that kid would be killed, basically. They swore on the river Styx.
Yeah, so now Percy is going to be chased by everyone else to kill him of that curse.
Yeah, pretty much. He's tried to kill by every single person. Except for his friends, obviously. And then, even one of his friends does try to kill him.
Well, the question is, if Poseidon did that, the curse of the Big Three, wouldn't he be obliged to kill his own son?
Well, no. He caused his son to be killed by bringing him into this world.
Yeah.
And the curse of the Big Three was actually made by Zeus and Poseidon after World War II, between the fight of the children of Hades versus Zeus and Poseidon's kids. That's pretty much what World War II was in the Greek mythology world in this book. And it brings up the fact that the kids of the Big Three are very dangerous and very strong, and that they should be killed at all costs, pretty much. Because has been threatened to kill by almost every single god, except for his father.
Yeah. So.
Oh, and Persephone. She doesn't threaten to kill him either.
True. And there's also those other people that come up in the book that are also either children of Zeus and Hades that come up as well. So there's other ones in other forms, but that's later down the line time frame.
Oh, there's what's called a child of Zeus who dies, and then there's another child of Jupiter who's in the next book series, and then there's Nico who we meet in the next book. No, in 2 books from this one. He comes up in the one with Atlas.
So yeah, that I think sets up the plot of Percy Jackson Olympian series, and then we go to the Sea of Monsters, where it's kind of interesting because you can't tell about the dad's the silent god of the sea, half-blood these days. Most came to see the monsters that we have to fight. So in the game of dodgeball turned to death against the ugly gang cannibal giants, we have the entire half-blood under attack, the golden fleece, the invaded by monsters. And then you have the treacherous Sea of Monsters and restore the Order of the Half-Blood Hill.
There's one part of the Sea of Monsters I don't like. It's the fact that Percy Jackson's a son of the sea god, yet he almost dies at sea. Because, if he's a child of Poseidon, wouldn't his, father, be helping him? Giving them, a protection of the sea? That's one part I don't like about it.
Okay, so the thing with what you say is divine intervention. Most of the time, divine intervention... Okay, in the Sea of Monsters, divine intervention does happen with the seahorse coming to his aid in the monsters of the sea. And the healing factor with the sea. So...
Yeah. The divine intervention... the only thing that he really gets help from is near the end of the book, where he needs the horses, who then almost try to kill him farther on in the book. And then at the very beginning, but that's not divine really intervention from his father, that's from Hermes.
Yeah.
And then they almost try to kill him there too.
True.
Yeah. The divine intervention is silly because every single time it happened in that book, those 2 times, the divine intervention tries to kill him.
True.
Yeah. The first time when it happened, the seahorses came. They helped him, but then they took the 3 demigods and 2 of them. The 3, because we meet Percy's brother, Cyclops' brother, who gets on a seahorse, the magical horses, and then they go up onto the ship, and then they're surrounded by monsters, which tried to kill him.
True. And it's kind of interesting because we have the Sea of Monsters. What does the Sea of Monsters actually entitle and develop the story?
Sea of Monsters is pretty much the Bermuda Triangle. It's this giant triangle area in the Atlantic Ocean that basically tries to kill you at every single turn. There's the island of the mermaid people who tried to get you shipwrecked and killed. The Circe's island with magical beings who also tried to kill you. The Cyclops island with the fleece who also tries to kill you.
Yeah.
And don't even mention the way to get into it. There's only 2 ways. There's only one way to get into it. It's just a small passageway. You go into that passageway. It stays straight in the middle. If you aren't, go one way or the other. You go to the island in the sky with the little hawk person who swoops down at lightning speed, picks you up, and you're dead. Because then they drop you into the ocean. And, there's a giant little whirlpool thingy that kills you.
Yeah.
And then on the opposite side, tornadoes, whirlpools, and other things that also try to kill you. You have to be crazy to try and go in there. Well, the demigods are crazy, so that makes sense.
Oh, yeah. Then we also had the Golden Fleece. I think the Legend of the Golden Fleece, the original Legend of the Golden Fleece was actually with Hercules in the original Greek mythology. But Percy Jackson's using it in a different way.
This is mentioned, Hercules fought this tiger, and he got like a sting on him. But no, the Golden Fleece was made by a goat, and it's a goat. The goat saves these two people. One of them falls up and dies on the way to safety, and then when they get there, the goat is killed, and the magical fleece is made out of that, and it basically can heal any wound, anything. It can even revive dead people.
Yeah.
I think it's very funny because a lot of people die in the book series, yet they can be brought back to life because of the Golden Fleece.
True.
That's very interesting.
Oh, yeah.
And we know it can revive dead people because at the end of the book, Thalia in the tree, I think it's Thalia, gets revived by the fleece because the tree is dying. They place it on the lowest hanging branch, and then, the tree gets revived because it's dying, and then Thalia gets revived. You see that at the end of the book because it's literally that.
Yeah.
And then it skips 6 months into the future, pretty much, in the next book, the fourth one.
And
no,
for people to know,
the second one and
the entire reason why they went to the Sea of Monsters to get the Golden Fleece was to restore the Half-Blood Hill. The Half-Blood Hill in the story was being the tree protecting the barrier, and the barrier was weakening.
The tree created the barrier, and the tree was created by Zeus, because Zeus created a tree where his daughter Thalia died, and then the tree created a barrier so monsters can't go through the barrier.
Yeah.
Until the fourth book.
So that's why there was the restoration of Half-Blood Hill, the Golden Fleece, and the Sea of Monsters was actually the storyline to restore the Half-Blood Hill, but then it turned to another problem with restoration of the Zeus daughter.
Yeah.
So now that unlines the curse, the deadly curse all over again. Because technically, as she's alive, that curse will probably be applied.
Yup. She also didn't age the same in the tree, as we see in the next book. Because the curse of the big three is for the next prophecy. Yeah. But if the prophecy was true, she would have already turned 16 while she was in the tree. So then the world would have already been saved or not saved. Which leads us into the next book about trying to save Annabeth and ensure that Thalia doesn't turn 16.
Yeah. So what's the significance of the Titan's curse?
Titan's curse. That's the next book. No? Yeah. I thought Titan's curse was the final book. Never mind, doesn't matter. The next book, the third book in the series, one of my favorites. We meet the Hunters of Artemis.
Yeah.
Who's this tribe of undead. Technically, they're immortal, but they're also not immortal. Because they can be killed in battle, they just don't age.
Yeah.
And the Hunters of Artemis. We meet them after Annabeth, Thalia.
Yeah, the next book is the Titan's
Percy.
Curse.
Huh?
The next book is the Titan's Curse.
Then what's the name of the final book?
Final book is I think the Olympian.
Oh.
Yeah.
The final Olympian, because that's where we meet Hestia, who's always the final Olympian, the protector of the hearth. Oh, my mistake.
Yeah.
Anyways, we meet Thalia for the first time with Percy, Annabeth, and Grover. They go to this big place, which is where we meet Nico and Bianca D'Angelo. who are children of Hades, and then they fight this giant monster thing that's newly resurrected, who fights for the general, who I already said is Atlas, they don't know about yet. And then Annabeth tackles the monster into the sea. She gets taken by Atlas and the monsters and stuff. And then we meet Artemis and the Hunters. Bianca joins the Hunters. They all meet Apollo. Apollo takes them to Camp Half-Blood. At Camp Half-Blood, they basically just talk with Charon. And then Percy wants to go on a quest, so he goes to talk to the prophecy person. And that doesn't work, so he goes. Then there's a what's it called, capture the flag event. But everybody versus the Hunters. Hunters win. They almost lose, but they do win. The Hunters, which also in this, the Hunters are extremely hot.
Yeah.
That's how they mentioned mostly in the book. Then they go on then the Hunters, Thalia, and Grover go on a quest. They fight this cat creature, the same with Hercules fought. They get this like giant fleece thing that's bulletproof and a bunch of other thing proof. Basically, can't be killed. Basically, like, if you're in it, you're invulnerable to everything. But if you take it off, then you basically can be hurt again. And then they continue on. They meet Annabeth's father, who then shows them how to get to this mountain, which is the Titan's mountain where Atlas is. They basically find their way up there, sneak past the dragon, get onto the mountain.
Yep.
Then they meet. That's where they meet Atlas and all them. And well, they fight Atlas, like I said earlier. And then Percy Jackson takes the sky from Annabeth, whose hair's starting to turn right. And then they stop fighting, all of them. Percy takes the sky from Artemis, who then starts fighting with Zoe Nightshade, Atlas's daughter. They continue fighting. Artemis kicks Annabeth. Artemis kicks Atlas. Atlas falls and rolls. Percy moves out of the way so he doesn't die by Atlas falling. Atlas takes up the sky, and all's good and ends well until they, go back. Thalia joins the Hunters. Percy gets threatened to kill again for like the umpteenth time. He doesn't get killed, thankfully. Nico, we find out, is a child of Hades. Bianca has died a while ago when they fought this giant creature that electrocuted and then died, and the land without rain. And then they basically go back, and then Annabeth stayed. Percy's fine. Grover's fine. Percy's brother from the last book is also fine, but he's in Poseidon's palace working in the forges. Forgot to mention that last one, yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty much the whole book series, the book.
True. And also with the Titan's curse, Annabeth goes missing. That's the catalyst for everything going on. But with the introduction of Atlas, I get the opportunity that like Atlas will come up again, but in a different way, because Atlas will still be serving his curse of duty to hold up the sky.
Titan's curse.
Yeah.
The Titan's curse is holding up the sky. But we actually don't really see Atlas very much in the rest of the book series. He gets mentioned in like a short segment where Percy's dreaming. We also see We also see in that book series, the third one, the Titan's Curse. We see him fall off a cliff and supposedly die.
Yeah.
We see him die, which I think is very interesting.
Yeah.
And then that also leads to the next book series, the Labyrinth. And not book series, the next book, the Labyrinth.
Yeah.
That's.
Well, this one we have, freshman correlation at the good high school. Mola can see through the mist. To interstate and escape. They travel to Camp Half-Blood. Lone Grover's in trouble. Council of the Clothing Elders. We also have a competition. Quintus, Annabeth, and Quincy actually find an interest in the Labyrinth. Possible invasion for Luke. Coming back in the story. given leadership quest for the Darius, and considers him to be on a string to Luke. A lot is going on here.
So, Percy had met this girl named Rachel in the previous book series, but they make a bunch of damn jokes. I'm not talking about D-A-M-N, the curse word, I'm talking about D-A-M. Because they, beat Rachel out of damn. They make a bunch of jokes about the damn snack bar and a bunch of other damn things.
Yeah.
Which I think is hilarious. But, basically Percy's going into his first year of high school, his freshman year, with his mother's boyfriend who's a teacher there. And they go to freshman orientation. Everything's perfectly fine. He's going to go on a date with Annabeth. Wait, then they don't. They fight a bunch of magical vampires. One explodes in a fiery fury. Then they escape. Percy escapes with Annabeth. They go to Camp Half-Blood. They find out Grover, who went on a search for Pan, couldn't find him. Figure out he's in the labyrinth. That's why nobody can find him. Then they find the labyrinth, way into the labyrinth later on. Then after they find their way into the labyrinth, then they get sent on a quest into the labyrinth with Percy's brother, who comes back in this book for the summer, with Annabeth, Percy, his brother, and Grover. And they basically go into there. They get separated purposefully after Grover and Tyson, Percy's brother, find a way that goes deeper into the earth where Pan should be. Yeah. And then they go in there. Annabeth and Percy, they go a different way, and they find a guy, like a farm dude. Percy fights this farm dude with 3 different chests, 3 different hearts. Mm-hmm. He uses the power of Hera to shoot all 3 of those hearts out, but he actually didn't pray to her. He prayed to Apollo and Artemis, the gods of hunting and archery, which then they meet Nico. Nico doesn't join them. He stays with the other farm handler, who's actually good, not bad. Then they go back into the tunnel. They go into Mount Diablo, I think, or something like that.
Yeah.
It's a mountain, a volcanic mountain.
Mount St. Helens, I think.
Huh?
Mount St. Helens?
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
And then that's where Typhoon is.
Yeah.
Where there's like walrus type creatures making weapons in there. And so that's happening. Then we also find out Percy's immune to lava.
Yeah.
He gets blown up. He goes to this magical island, meets this girl. He leaves the island because of Hephaestus or Ares or something like that. And then he leaves the island. He goes back to camp where Annabeth is. They burned his shrew that Annabeth and the Athena cabin made. And then they go back into the place, but with Rachel this time, who can find the way in. Then what's his face? Percy goes in there. Then he fights his brother, who is not a Cyclops. He's a child of Gaia, the Earth goddess, the second most powerful being in this world, and Poseidon. So basically, Percy can't kill him, hypothetically, if he's on Earth. He's under Earth. So basically, he gets the dude tangled up, and he basically chokes to death off the ground, which I think is hilarious. And then he gets freed. He goes find Daelus's workshop. He doesn't find the string. The string was already given to Luke. Then Daedalus and his hellhound, then they, fight and all that jazz. Mm-hmm. Then they escape. Huh?
Yep.
Yeah, and then they fight. And then they find another entrance into the labyrinth, but they go back to New York, Camp Half-Blood, where the battle's about to begin.
Yeah.
The first fight of this, war, the big main fight, Camp Half-Blood with all the monsters that Luke and Kronos have, and Kronos. Kronos is alive now. Kronos is real. Kronos is alive in this universe again.
Yep.
In the overworld.
Yeah.
As I like to call it. And, well, he's not in this fight, thank gosh, because if he was, they would lose. Then, basically, they fight, and, let me rewind a little bit. They find Pan Hayden dies, give Grover his power of the scream that petrifies everybody, makes them run away. It's like the fear of the wild and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And so, yeah. So then they fight. Grover comes out, screams. All the monsters go back in hiding. That's when we meet the 100-armed person, Daedalus,
Yeah.
5, and his hellhound, Miss O'Leary. And then basically he's killed by Nico. His soul goes into his sword, and then the labyrinth crashes. No more labyrinth, and then basically that's pretty much the end of the story.
Yeah.
Labyrinth's gone. They have to prepare for war. Yeah.
And usually we've seen that Luke is possessed by Kronos. We also can't have blood to fight. They go back to the Mount Arthritis, and then basically get them just to do an all-of battle again. So.
Oh yes, but there's also another funny part there. When they see Luke turn into Kronos, like in his body.
Yeah.
There's also another dude, another girl, Rachel. She throws her hairbrush and hits the god of time, the king of all titans, in the eye with a hairbrush. She must got some balls on her. Pun intended. Because she's a girl. She doesn't have them.
Yeah. Well, what's the significance of the sanddial that Poseidon gives Percy?
Oh, the sand coin? The sand dollar? That's very important in the next part. But the sand dial on this can help, like, the minor sea gods of, like, the all small parts of the oceans, lakes, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
They can use the sand dollar to clean up the water, which he breaks in half and gives to the other dudes later on in the next book series. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So that's the Battle of Labyrinth, and how, Grover's basically saved. Kronos gets back introduced in the story in a weird, indirect way, and pretty much go back to Manhattan, where the lightning thief took place, which is the entrance to Mount Olympus.
Yep. The last scene in this book is Percy Jackson's birthday, where he meets Nico in his room on the fire escape, and Nico says he has a plan, which we don't find out the plan until the next book series, where he bathes in the river something or other, River Leith, I think, where he gets the blessing of Achilles, which is basically you can't be killed except for one spot, and he picks his the thing of his shoulder blade, something like that, his back. Which is actually the curse is exactly how Kronos dies in this. Yeah. He gets killed because of the curse. The shoulder blade thing. Except for him, it's... No.
The Achilles heel.
Except for him, it's in his armpit.
Oh.
Yeah. It's, for Lucas, it's in his armpit. With Kronos and all that stuff, it's in the actual armpit. Basically, if you just close your arm, they can't touch you. You literally can't be killed. Just battle with one arm. Boom. You win.
True. I to be honest, I really think the Apollo weakness with the Achilles heel is actually more better, because you have to hit the heel of the person with it. So
yeah,
I don't know. I think that's a lot better, because when you think of the legend of Apollo, the Greek god of the sun, warrior, and the sky. Basically, his weakness is the Achilles heel. So that's where the term Achilles heel comes from, with anyone having a weakness.
The Achilles heel is one of the weakest points in the human body. Your heel is.
Yeah.
Because if you kick it hard enough, the person can faint, and then they can easily be killed then. They faint,
And the thing is, it's actually really hard to injure that area, too.
The Achilles heel, yeah. Because if you wear steel-toed boots, but the steel is in the back, the bullet can just bounce off the back of it arrows won't hurt it, that won't hurt it, and who's going to go crawling around with a little knife to stab you in the back of the foot?
Yeah.
Like, yeah. Percy chose like this one area, except when he fought, it said it would be covered by armor, and he didn't wear armor. Like, he mentions it would be covered by armor, so it'd be really hard to get to, yet he doesn't wear the armor.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the final book, we see him, he goes with Nico, and on Miss O'Leary, they shadow travel, they talk to Luke's mom, who
the Last Olympian.
is basically crazy. Huh?
The Last Olympian.
Yeah, the Last Olympian, the final book in this book series. They meet Luke's mom, they tell him about her, she tells them about her son, Luke, and growing up and all that. And the last time she saw him, which was a few weeks ago, to ask permission. Because you have to have the parents' permission to, like, pretty much to have the curse of Achilles. The invulnerability.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. They need the parents' permission to do so. So if you're an orphan, well, that sucks. You don't have parents.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just no parents, no permission, no curse. I mean, it's not really a curse, because curses are usually bad. And curses usually can't go away. But this can go away.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, you're saying that Percy has to get permission from his mother to actually get the curse, the blessing of armies, to actually have that one wound area to be killed?
Yeah, he does have her permission to do so.
So when she's given permission, what is she thinking?
She's thinking like, oh no, he's gonna go fight someone very strong. He might never come back. I'm scared for my child that he's going to come back. He's not going to come back from this next fight. That he needs like this extra protection to fight the strong being. Pretty much. She's scared and worried for him. They also make a pact thingy that when the fight's over, the sky turn blue to make sure that to tell them that, you know, they're all fine and safe and stuff like that.
Okay. And what's the area that Percy Jackson chooses when he gets blessed with this curse?
He chooses, like, I'm pretty sure it's like the area of the shoulder blade. Mm-hmm. Like the shoulder blade, the tip of it area. So you have to like stab into it. Like if you're running up to somebody and you like stab them in the back, it won't hit it. You have to like stab from the side.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Yeah, I guess there's another non-common area to do it.
Yeah. So. But if you choose the inside of your eyeball, then you can just close your eye and fight with one eye. Because like they can't stab your eyelid to do it, so it's protected. It's practically impossible to kill you then. But there's also another way to do it. If they just take you to the Roman area, bathe you in the water, and then boom, you're vulnerable again. But yeah, that doesn't get mentioned until the next book series.
Yeah. But I think the next book series is another weird, like a spin-off.
The next book series that Greek is in, it's the Heroes of Olympus.
Yeah.
It's Roman and Greek demigods.
Yeah.
Where Percy gets taken by Hera, Jason, who is Thalia's brother, gets taken to Camp Half-Blood, and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
But that's not Percy Jackson related. That's Heroes of Olympus.
Yeah.
HOO.
So, then we also have Titan Oceanus is under siege.
Yeah. The Titan, Water Titan, yeah. He starts fighting Poseidon at his castle. Poseidon leaves to go take down Typhoon, who's trying to destroy Olympus, and Poseidon's castle gets destroyed. Yeah.
So. with also with the what's the great prophecy in this when he goes back to get Half-Blood?
The great prophecy, the prophecy of the three great demigods of the big three. That's the curse I was talking about earlier, with the big three tells them the demigods, they would be killed. This is why they would be killed. Because of this, it led to the big three making a pact, which about them not having any more children, like demigod children. So yeah, it's basically the next child of the big three who turns 16 will either would be the cause to destroy or save Olympus, pretty much. And if you destroy Olympus, then like the whole world will crash and stuff like that. Everything it made, all of Western society would be destroyed. It's what's mentioned. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's something or other.
Yeah.
Oh, and later on, Rachel, who turns into the next prophecy, but the prophecy thing was cursed by Hades, but he didn't know that. And then basically Rachel tells him, "You're not the hero in this story," which actually, if she didn't say that, Percy would have just not give Luke like the dagger to win. They would have lost if Rachel didn't say that. So I think the real hero is Rachel. That's just my theory. Yeah. Any questions?
Not necessarily. So what's your favorite part of this series with Percy Jackson and how everything works out?
My favorite part, well, it's tied between the three. It's when they fight the Titan with when they fight at Circe's Island, where Percy Jackson turns into a guinea pig. I didn't mention that part before, but yeah, they fight at Circe's Island, where she's like a magic person who turns all these men into guinea pigs, which then they get gummies from Hermes, who turns them all back into human. The whole island gets overrun by pirates and people. So basically, they escape on a giant pirate ship. And then my second favorite is when they what's it called? When the dam thing, where they meet at the dam, and they make all those damn jokes.
Mm-hmm.
And my third favorite is when Rachel takes the hairbrush and throws it at Cronus's eye. It's also a really funny point in the story. Have you read any of the books?
Yeah, well, I've read them and actually been kind of familiar with them and how they interact and the legend. My personal favorite of Percy Jackson of the Olympians series is probably based off the Greek mythology and how much Greek mythology it actually uses in the lore of the context.
Yeah, they use some of the stuff because then they mention the snake lady and how the shield of Percy with the shield, how it petrified her, and she was killed the second time with that. She was killed the first time by getting her head chopped off and stuff. Because when her head got chopped off, a child and the first Pegasus came into being. Yeah. Anything else?
Let's see. We have the great, we have everything taken up on the mantle. So, if you have to choose a character to embody and be a characteristic of them, who you choose?
Can you say that again?
If you were to choose to embody a character, be that character, who will you be?
Nico.
Why?
He doesn't sleep.
Mm-hmm.
He's gay. He doesn't really tell anybody he's gay. The only person who he does tell he's gay to is no. And later on in the book series and stuff, he tells everybody he's gay. At the very beginning when they meet it,
mm-hmm.
They don't really know he's gay.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's gay. He can't tell anybody he's gay, just like me, because I can't tell almost any of my family I'm gay. And then that he doesn't really sleep. He's a dark, broody character, how I usually am in real life. He's quiet, mysterious. Yeah.
Okay. So who would you match in the story with Nico?
What's it called? Like romantically?
Romantically, a partner in crime, duo. Who knows what you're gonna do?
I think Percy and Nico made a good group since they're, two children of the big three, Hades and Poseidon. And, well, Nico, he can, like, summon giant craters, and Percy can summon a giant amount of water, so they can, make a giant water trap. But, if there's also Thalia in the mix, you can just, summon lightning and make it a water lightning trap. That type of thing. Very, very good trap. Weapon-wise and stuff.
Yeah.
Romantically, Nico and Will make a good couple.
Yeah.
Which, well, Solstice, child of Apollo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, what do you feel like the lasting impact of the Olympians and Percy Jackson leaves to its viewers in the final book?
It leaves a lot of stuff open with, the Titans and stuff. And, Nico, they can make like a whole book series off of him because, he's only, 13, 14? And Percy was like 16 when he did it. So they can make like a book series on like the 2 years of him, fighting and stuff like that. Plus, it also mentions, he's been hearing voices in the Trials of Apollo book series. So then they can just add that onto it. And plus, then there's the Hundreds of Artemis, where they can, add onto that into it. But then on top of that, there's also, Grover becoming one of the members of the Thing after the dude dies.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a lot of stuff that they can do onto it.
Mm-hmm.
Did they do any of it? No. Could they? Yes. Because Nico is like 12 in this when this book series ends. 6, 11, 12.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah. And with Percy Jackson, who's your favorite god?
My favorite god? Hermes. I like Hermes. But Hades is also really cool because he has a lot of like cool powers, and he has like all of the underworld, which is like a very big population. And basically, if he can basically take over any city he wants with his army. Yeah. He has magic, powers, death, and he controls death itself, which can release all the monsters from the underworld. So, like, if they really wanted to, they can take over all of the overworld pretty easily, I would say, because they would kill all the humans off, and then it would just be the demigods, which, underground, he can easily just, summon a hole, release all the monsters and stuff into the barrier, killing all the demigods. So basically, Hades, if he really wanted to, he can easily destroy the world, practically.
Yeah.
He's cool.
Well, I also feel like him in the series, he doesn't do that because he feels like he has he's like the protector of the underworld. So when he does that, his realm, so he doesn't have to interfere with the human realm.
Yeah, he doesn't really, because there's also a curse of the underworld. Yeah. And the curse is if you eat a pomegranate, like any fruit from the underworld, like a pomegranate or something like that, then you can't leave the underworld unless you say you could. Which Hades can't control that, but also he's not allowed to leave the underworld unless if Zeus and all them decide he can.
Yeah. So
yeah, he's one of the strongest gods, yet his powers are nuked a lot by the other gods.
Yeah.
Which I don't think is very fair. He's misunderstood.
How's he misunderstood?
Huh?
Well, you say he's misunderstood, so how's that playing a factor in his role as protector of the underworld?
What's it called? When he's the oldest god, I'm pretty sure. Like, the main 12, Poseidon and all of them, he's older than all of them. Because he's older than Poseidon, so which means that would make him stronger, you know? So wouldn't that make him like the king of the gods? And plus, he didn't even get to choose. He was forced into the god of the underworld, and he was forced into the pact of the river Styx. He was forced in to do a lot of stuff. So that would clearly make him grumpy and angry, which he shows in the book series.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So he's pretty much understood because of he's basically forced to do a lot of stuff he doesn't want to do, which would make almost anybody grumpy and angry. Yeah.
So with Percy Jackson with the Olympians, do you feel like the story progresses to a point where it actually becomes more interesting, or where is one part you would fix?
Like that really sticks with me? Yeah. Like, what's it called? There's many parts in like all the books that really stick with me. The part that I think sticks the most is like near the end. Mm-hmm. Near the end of the final book, the Last Olympian, when Annabeth and Percy kiss underwater. That part really stuck with me. Because in the other book series, they make the love interest progressed through all the book series, where Annabeth has kissed him like twice before that, but not like romantically.
Yeah.
And then when all the Aries kids and all the other campers like threw him into the water, he didn't get wet, and nor did Annabeth, and he forced a water bubble to take them to the bottom of it where they kissed. That was when they signified that they were dating. Yeah, that part really stuck with me.
Oh, okay. So do you feel like your participation in the Percy Jackson Olympian series is actually really well understood by most people, or is it like one of those types of book series that's under the radar?
What do you mean by that?
So, like, do you feel you're highly representative in a book community with Percy Jackson, or do you feel like it's based on other book series that Percy Jackson low rankings are lower than those?
I think like Percy Jackson, like a lot of people know about this book series.
Yeah.
They just don't think it would be a good book series to read. Because I know a bunch of people who have read it and say it's a good book series, but I also know a bunch of people who haven't read it, and they don't think it'd be a good book series. That's what I've asked. Because yeah.
Oh, okay. So people underestimate the book.
Yeah.
And why do you think they do that?
Because from what people have told me that they don't think about is that they don't think it'd be a good book because all the Greek gods and stuff, they think it'd be too confusing to memorize all this stuff, and going into the next book series, they think the whole last book would confuse them, that they won't remember a lot of the stuff that happened in the last book series. Which, yeah, it can be a little bit confusing, but if you read over some pages, you might have to do that a little bit. But if you pay attention to what you're reading, it shouldn't be that confusing.
True.
But this is also coming from somebody who's read the books 4 times.
So you read the books 4 times. What has one thing that you have read that has changed throughout the times you've read the books? Your perception or how the story goes?
Well, the first 3 times I read it, the story didn't really change. But then when I read it the 4th and final time, I read it 4 months ago, near my birthday, January, February, March, I read it again. I started reading it again. I haven't finished the final book yet. The 4th time, I read all the other ones. And so, yeah, my perception of Percy Jackson and all of his all the people we fought against has changed, because he was he has ADHD, which most demigods do have, and my perception of that has been has changed since the very first time I read it 2-3 years ago, and yeah, he's misunderstood slightly. He's being bullied for something that he can't really control.
Well,
he doesn't take any medications really.
It's also the vision as well. Normal letters, they don't see it as like hysteria or something like that.
He has dyslexia, but he can't really say bright letters and stuff.
Yeah.
But he also can read Greek fluently. Yeah. He can speak Greek mostly fluently.
Yeah.
Because of his, ancestry with the Greek gods and stuff like that. Yeah. They used to speak Greek, which I can speak Greek mostly, kind of.
What do you mean you can mostly speak Greek?
Okay, so I'm on Duolingo, and I've been taking classes on Duolingo to speak Greek. Can I speak it? No. I can say a few things in it. But
say a sentence right now in Greek and then translate it to English. Go.
Say that again?
Do a sentence in Greek, but also translate it to English.
I haven't gotten to speak sentences yet. I've been learning.
Do a phrase. Do a phrase.
I have to pull up Duolingo real quick because I don't memorize it off the top of my head. I can read it and then say it out loud off of that. Not loading.
And also another thing that with Greek you have, it's kind of interesting because, it's just like that ability of transcription and translating ability that people might have in all these different games because of a heritage factor. So their history factor actually determines if they can speak that language and understand that language. So in this case, Percy Jackson can do it and be able to do it. Now let's see how Saber can speak Greek and actually try to master the gods.
Okay, so this is hello, how are you? It's Gia post Isela. Did you hear that? It's spelled GEIA P special thing for O S space E special thing for I SAI.
Yeah. So there's an asterisk on the I. So it's a It's like a really
special
unique sound. Yeah. So okay, that's not terrible. And say it again.
Yes, I need to pull it back up then, because I didn't think you were. I got to ask me a second time. Gia post Isaiah.
Okay.
Hello, how are you?
The post Isaiah. And how you respond? Pretty good, right?
Yeah, I might be saying it wrong, but that's how it's GEI, so it'd be Gia, and then so on and so forth.
Well, with this particular episode of MC Anime, this is coming to a conclusion. So, is there anything you'd like to say to wrap up the Percy Jackson Olympians series questionnaire and you as a special guest, Saber?
You can buy these books off Amazon, and it's $10 per book. It's $10-$15 per book. So yeah, you can buy them off Amazon if you want to read them, or you can just Google it and then you can read it off of there.
And if you really like the Percy Jackson Olympian series, Rick Warden.
You can also read the ones after it.
Yeah. Rick Warden's the author, and there's also spin-offs after the 5-part book series. Percy Jackson is mentioned, but it also kind of plays a different role, kind of. So it's oh yeah, you mentioned, but you play you might be totally different in the story or how you strive and all this other stuff.
Percy Jackson has another book series after this, Heroes of Olympus, but you don't even see him until the second book series, where he's the Trials of Neptune. Yeah, that's special. And then there's one after that, Trials of Apollo, where you only see him in the first and last book.
Yeah.
Around Apollo and his stupidity and stuff. Yeah.
So it's basically
Anything else?
it's just like Percy Jackson taking on a different role and actually doing something else, right?
Yeah, Percy Jackson takes a different role in every single book series. And first one, he's a main character. Second one, he's a shared main character with 6 other characters in it. First book he's in is the second one, Son of Neptune, where there's 3 main characters. The first book is 3 main characters, and then the final 3 books in the book series is 7 main characters.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then in the final book series that he has, The Trials of Apollo, he's like a minor character in that.
Okay. So there you have it. You heard from Saber himself. Read and do a hashtag Percy Jackson Olympian for the book series and support Rick Warden with everything he's done with the publishing and authorship of these books.
Yeah. He's special.
Exactly.
Very special person.
The historic perspective of Greek mythology is a really interesting premise, and it's totally different than the original Percy in Greek mythology. So if you want to see, PJO, Percy Jackson Olympian, as a book to you, go buy it, support it, and also contribute to the conversation. Maybe you can leave a comment, and you can follow us on MCMA Podcasts on Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and Amazon Music. You can find Saber on Discord with SABER #4321, and that also be the link in the description for messaging Saber if you really like his input about Percy Jackson and other related stuff, if you'd like him as a special guest. And with that, this concludes the episode of MC Anime Podcasts with the Percy Jackson Olympian Questionnaire. Saber, thank you for your time, and thank you for being here. So, bye guys.
This concludes another episode of MC Anime Podcast. MC Anime Podcast is available on podcast directories like Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and YouTube. We also have our website at mcanimepodcast.com. If you want to directly support us, then follow Patreon blog MC Anime. Finally, if you want services for hire, then we're available on Fiverr for audio and video production, graphic design, idea consulting, and blog and article writing.